Pilot's video organism lower left. I know you're still setting up. But
Yeah, we're moving away.
You can stop image though. If it presents itself.
Drifting back.
Good morning. Somebody else just joined us on the conference call. If so, could you introduce yourselves?
Yes, good morning. This is Tim Shank from Woods Hole, joining in on the dive.
Good morning, Tim. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. Beautiful morning here.
Good. Hope the weather's starting to improve.
It's going to be sunny and over 50 today.
Wow. A beautiful day, I hope.
The snow is almost melted.
Finally.
Which one are you bringing up? Lower. Turn so you can see it. No, I got it. Go off that. Okay. Happy? So you can see moving to port. Moving to starboard. That's probably that current that was making a stream to the south. Ready for some fancy focusing video?
Roger. Just need a target.
Co-pilot, you ready to go? Ready.
Bridge, ROV nav.
ROV nav, bridge.
Yes, can we please get the ship moving due east, 0.2 knots.
Roger that. Get the ship moving due east, 0.2 knots.
Roger that, thank you.
Where's that?
The entire length of these transects will be about 1 kilometer, if that helps you put it into the DP system.
Yeah, there's something.
Zoom? No.
What camera angle is best here? Still see a lot of halos. in the water.
Yeah, well, once I push, we'll lose. Here, yeah, I'll lose them as soon as I push.
Okay.
How are the vehicles moving in relation to the current?
It is from port to starboard pretty strong.
Yeah, I'm seeing that now.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to stay,
Maybe wag port a little bit, give us longer time to track.
yeah. That's where I was headed. Yeah, then we can kind of drift sideways with them.
Roger. Do we want to try that before we have a target? Just come off stick and see if we stay with this stuff?
Okay, which
Just
others?
pick a random white dot and I'll see what we can do.
Okay, off stick.
So we got this guy here. Yeah. It's quick. Might be long enough for an ID though.
Yeah. I'm going to play with your lights a little bit, Carl. Copy.
Pilot, you're just going to have to drive with it, try to stick with things. You're just going to have to be on stick and try to stick with, keep with the targets.
Yeah, I think we're just going to have to wag. We're not actually, when you come off stick, we're not moving to starboard.
Nope. And by the time the vehicle gets moving with the current. It's too late.
Yeah. So you're... Oh, maybe I'm pulling your heading around, Josh.
Go ahead, dry lab. Sure, that could be, but I'm looking at SCS display here and everything's frozen now. That's what I have no idea what the sampling rate or any of that is, but when I look at SCS display at my station,
Well, everyone call out
I don't
when
have
they
a wind
see-
gauge or anything
Yeah.
else.
Do we have lasers on during transects?
Not
normally?
Sure. I don't think they would work very well.
Yeah, and there's no object to
Yeah.
shine on them.
Unless there's something
So-
really big, but it's doubtful.
That could be, but maybe it's just the SCS display computer needs to be rebooted or something. It's
So, I
the
mean, let's
the
just
physical display.
try
I'm
zooming
sure
in
the
on anything
data's fine,
small
but the
just to
display is
get our,
frozen.
Roger.
Just to get going.
That's a pretty good push.
Pilot's ship is underway.
Copy that now.
I just heard
Looks-
a question about
looks like
lasers. We
Sirius
don't
is
need the
starting to
lasers
move.
on during the
Would
transect.
you two agree with that?
Yes. Yes.
Roger
Push
that.
zoom. I'm coming
Then we're going to
out.
begin the
Okay.
800-meter
There's a-
transect pretty soon.
Object.
So,
lower.
sorry, Mike, I
Yeah,
missed.
I'll go down to it.
I missed that. Can you say again if it was for me?
Coming out. I will keep these
There.
in frame
I heard
as
the
long as they're
pilot talking about
targets.
whether we should have the lasers on during the transect. There's really no reason to, because unless you can get both dots on an animal, they won't tell you anything in the Midwater Transect.
Thank you, Mike.
Watch lead.
Coming out.
We have begun the 800-meter transect.
Oh,
We
that's
have our
close.
first target.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Got him. That was pretty cool.
Thank you, pilot. And pilot, the scientists on shore said we don't need the lasers.
Great.
There's another little guy. Top left.
Yeah.
And for anybody listening,
Wow.
this is the Okeanos Explorer, and we're doing our first experiment of the day.
I'm wide.
We are about to
Okay.
carry out a midwater transect at 800 meters. We are going to traverse laterally for about 1 kilometer, carefully looking out of the cameras to see what biology, what animals we can see. And hopefully we might be able to see some really spectacular octopods, pods or similar animals like that. But we're just trying to document and record the variations in animals that we
Little
see
push. Just go hunting.
at this depth too. And my co-watch lead just emailed me and said, don't forget the fish.
Come back out.
There's something.
Top left. That
Yeah.
10 to 4 looking.
Top left. Coming up to it. He's not in the light.
Something in Sirius HD.
Thank you,
Yeah.
dry lab.
Picture.
Push forward, Carl.
Wonder if we want to center up Mini Zeus just in case it captures anything.
You can do that.
Yeah, go for it.
Bid
Go
to
back.
port.
Push forward, Carl.
Pushing forward.
Your camera's looking down.
Quick push. See if anything's
Might make it
coming
easier
at
if you
us.
bring it more horizontal into the light.
This one. Okay, I'm stretched out ahead and center. Just waiting.
Whoa.
You gotta focus on the.
I mean, you can move laterally, and you've got some vertical play to try to hunt for things.
full wide here.
Copy that.
There's something coming towards us.
Oh yeah. Got him. It's got the lights.
Looks like a jellyfish.
Those are actually our lights. They
Mike's?
refracted back. Could be wrong.
Very nice, Carl.
You going any further? Should I push in?
Yeah, I got him.
I can take care of it. Thank you.
Okay, we have maybe 10 more seconds on him.
Roger, more of a play. Whoa, I lose a lot of light when I get really far out there.
Yeah, Carl, you
Keep
can
it
keep pushing
mid-plane.
forward. I notice you've come off your thrusters.
All right, coming out.
Okay. Pushing forward.
You're in the lower right of my screen.
Thank you, pilot.
Yeah.
You might find that driving up close to it works better than zooming if it happens to be right in front of you.
Forward, Carl.
Yep. 78% forward. There I am.
Because it will keep the light on, and then the video can snap.
Well, 2 good ones. This is kind of fun.
Now you just gotta get it right in the light.
Yeah, you're good, Carl.
Okay. Fun.
5 minutes remaining in the 800-meter transect.
Five more minutes in this transect. So far, we've seen that spectacular jellyfish.
Did not see that. Did it just occur? 10:20. Yep.
Try to push one of these little dots.
Go for it.
Very cool.
Just to confirm that they are, in fact, dots.
Did you see anything?
No.
What about this guy in the middle? Oh, this guy.
Pilot watch lead.
Do a push.
Go ahead, watch lead.
and
Good morning. How are you today?
Doing well, thanks. This is fun.
Do you mind if I just... Okay. I can sit over there. Oh, thanks. Okay. Perfect.
Top right.
Top right.
Sirius camera is at 45 degrees, Dave.
Copy that.
Copy that.
Up just a little.
But it's are they done getting it ready? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Pilot video, shift change.
For anybody just joining us, we're at 800 meters conducting a Midwater Transect. Today is the 4th dive of our expedition, the Oceano Profundo expedition. And we are headed down to the west wall of Mona Canyon.
Got a lot of light right in front of you.
Yeah, tilt
less,
is
less push
level.
out.
Up, set.
Maybe I'll take your uppers and push them out. Got a
gelatinous
jelly.
object. Slowing, rising, backing. Are you zooming?
Yes.
Yeah, you need to tell me when you're doing that because I
Got it.
can't tell
Sure.
what the vehicle's doing.
Well, this is full wide.
Okay, I think it's still out there. Yeah, don't zoom until I call for it
Sure.
because I was backing up away from your zoom.
You're at the edge of bottom edge of my screen.
Yeah, got that. Okay, quick zoom.
So this is
Hold that. That's about all I can do with that one.
okay.
All right, pilots.
Didn't get a great shot in that. Maybe the
Time to
folks back home.
move down to 900 meters.
900? Okay. Just briefing in the breakfast relief on Sirius.
I think that may have been an abandoned Larvacean house. Larvaceans are they're in the same evolutionary line that leads to vertebrates, and they build mucus houses in the water, and they use the mucus to filter the water to collect very. Turn off my speaker.
Josh, we need to head down.
They use the mucus houses to filter the water because they eat very small particles that are in the water. And then every once in a while they'll abandon that mucus house and build another one. But the mucus is still really important because it's colonized by bacteria, microbes, and it sinks to the bottom. So it transfers carbon out of the water column and down to the bottom.
Thank you, Mike Vecchione. I think we're headed down now
Hey, Chris. Need you
to
come
the
down
next
quickly.
transect.
All right, I'm headed down now.
Copy that. Delta 20.
Yep. 18 coming down. Heading for 900. Just follow me down.
Copy that.
You might be tugging yourself.
Yeah. That's all I got, so.
Okay, I'll slow
Might have to
down.
Slow down a little
I
bit.
outran you. I'm sorry.
Passing 850 meters.
You just lost your heading. There we go.
Yeah.
Now I'll wait for
Got
you.
something there in front of you if you want to check it out. Briefly.
Okay, stand by. Out of auto hit. Okay, video.
I'm holding.
Whoa. Oh, that's
All
pretty
that.
awesome. Jellyfish.
Yeah, it's nice. That's a nice little Medusa. That's great. That was beautiful.
We're stable here, Dave.
Okay.
Zooming in.
Solmissus species.
Yep. Yep. That looks. Oh, that's great. That.
Wow. Right, we're at a depth of 864 meters. Not on our transects yet, but we just saw this jelly.
Got a little
So
more zoom.
stop taking a great look
No.
at it.
Okay, a little bit more zoom now. Just a touch. That's
One of the jellyfish with the tentacles that stick out from above its bell as it pulses, and you can sort of see the opposite side of the tentacles, the bottom of the bell,
And we
pulsing
must go.
velum, which kind of
Please.
that kind of flap that's moving in and out, sort of helps control the fluid motion. Much about these jellyfish, much their foraging strategy depends on kind of the flow around those tentacles. They kind of can control that very well. That was great.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Pilots, good job on that.
You might mention there was a couple of little white spots on the jellyfish's body, and those were probably amphipods. Often when you see these in the water, they have
Okay,
tiny
hitting
amphipods,
back down.
either hitchhiking or feeding on them. I'm not sure which.
I'm going a little slower now. I was
Roger that.
in too much of a hurry before.
So jellyfish are in several different groups. Mike Ford or Mike Vecchione, could you maybe just give a brief explanation of some of the different characters that would separate some of the jellyfish groups?
I'll defer to Mike Ford on that.
I was about to refer to Mike Vecchio. No, there are several different groups, and the ones that we were looking at, the Hydromedusae, there are Siphonophores, and there are certainly Salps and Siphonophores. And I think broadly you could say that there are groups of something called the gelata, which is a term that's been kind of used by a lot of jellyfish biologists. It encompasses many different taxonomic groups. The Siphonophores are usually typically characterized by
Coming up on
these kind of rows of comb cilia. We saw some of those examples in the first dive on Friday. That wonderful Siphonophore close to the bottom. You can see these rows of undulating cilia, these combs.
Slow it down.
Then there are other species, Siphonophore, which are kind of big bell-like
call this the
Medusae.
beginning?
They're usually characterized. They have like a
11:38.
benthic stage as well. Typically, different bell structures. Divisions in the body forms could include whether or not they have long tentacles, and then sometimes they have a structure underneath their bell which captures prey. Kind of looks like a lot thicker tentacles. Those are the oral arms. Those oral arms can sometimes be more of a solid
Delta
form.
16.
There are, and lots of different types of small Hydromedusae out there. So, I mean, there's a broad set of groups that that make up the gelata. The Salps are a group of pelagic tunicates that can also pump water through mostly a cylindrical body form and kind of filter out prey. So there's lots of different ways to divide it. Most of them are just incredible body forms and sizes, so that's probably pretty much my best guess right now.
That was a great description, Mike Ford. Thank you. can use it for sound bites.
Do you want your swing arms out?
Oh no.
They were
Oh, yeah.
fooling around. I don't know what Josh was trying to do earlier, but it seems to be less light in front of me than there was before. My camera is just about level.
He had his lowers out, I believe, then while they were doing the transect.
So we've reached a depth of 900 meters. Believe we're just setting up still before we start our second midwater transect. We're at a temperature of 6.4 degrees, a DO of 5.19.
Should help a little.
That's better. Oops. I tugged you? Sorry. I'm coming back.
Okay.
Just puppied off on you there. Getting into the groove.
While we're setting up, I'll give a little bit more background about things that we're interested in. The only place that this kind of work has been done a lot is in Monterey Canyon in the eastern Pacific off California. And in Monterey Canyon, there's very little oxygen once you get down into the water column.
Okay, zoom. Please.
And
Zooming.
we see some animals that are well adapted to living in those low oxygen conditions, but we see similar animals here in the Western Atlantic, and I'm really interested in the fact that they can live both in low oxygen conditions and in the higher oxygen that we're seeing here. So right now, there's plenty of oxygen in the water column for these animals, and so we're looking at comparing what we're seeing in these canyons with what's well documented in Monterey Canyon.
And more zoom.
And we're looking at a Siphonophore right now. This is beautiful, beautiful image.
Swinging to follow you, Dave.
Okay.
When you think about it, most of the animals on Earth are these jelly-like things that live in midwater because there's such a large volume of midwater that they're found throughout.
Okay, must go. Wide, please.
Full wide. I came around about 45 degrees.
Oh, oops, I just tugged you. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Coming towards you.
And it's interesting for a lot of deep sea work that we do. It's not as often where we actually stop and get really good, data on the midwater. So conduct transects and get good images. Sometimes you just go right to the bottom and you miss a huge portion of the deep sea environment or the pelagic environment.
Okay, you start bringing your head around. Coming around.
A lot of exploration to be done still in this environment in the pelagic zone.
So we're halfway through that transect.
Let me know when you're on heading.
That's about it there.
Okay. That went pretty good. Might have stayed just a smidge longer than I should have, but I needed 100% to get back in position. Don't be afraid to give me a nudge if I'm...
Changing video.
It's a little something. Snap zoom.
A little too bright.
Sorry.
I think he's in our light pole or.
He's too close now. Yeah. So, came up on him a little too quick there.
And zoom out, just see if I can find some targets of opportunity for us. Oh, bottom left.
Oh, what's that? What's that?
There he is. Zooming.
Need me to come down
A second.
Alright, I'll just keep these framed.
Yeah. Just let me know when you're going in and out, because I'm
Okay. Pulling out
reacting
now.
to that.
Pulling out. Holding.
So Mike Cheadle back online on the Okeanos Explorer, and we're currently doing
Pushing
a
ahead here.
Midwater Transect looking for exciting biology, jellyfish,
Pushing a little bit.
siphonophores,
Holding.
fish, and anything else we can find. And hopefully, maybe even some great octopods.
I'm at the end of my tether, but when I get some more, I'll advance.
Roger.
So one of the mics, could you tell us what this is?
Still looking, Mike. It looks great.
Should have
Pull out.
more now.
Well, at first I thought it was a south chain,
Little
but now it's
push.
looking more like a siphonophore.
Zapping
Yeah, it
in
looks more
for
like a
close.
siphonophore to me, too. You can see, toward that
Coming
second
out,
half, they
slow.
look like eating polyps.
But it's a siphonophore with the tentacles all contracted.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
I'm gonna push you
it
a
was
little bit
unusual.
here.
It's like so thick all the way down.
Just hold that for a second.
Great.
Holding.
Thank you, Mike. Just anybody out there didn't hear that, we think this is a siphonophore with its tentacles retracted.
Some light
And now we're zooming in.
tilting down.
Spectacular shots.
Start to rotate now to keep you in view.
Partial.
Tilting up a little.
Thank you. Gonna push just a little. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, it's definitely a siphonophore. I might mention these siphonophores. First of all, they're colonies. They have a whole bunch of different animals that are so closely connected to each other that they function as a single organism, but it's considered to be a
Just gonna let
colony.
it drift down.
And the other thing I'd like to mention is when they have their tentacles out, they have very powerful stingers. They're related to the Portuguese man of war, and some of them have stingers that are more powerful than a Portuguese man of war.
You can see it in the serial.
Wow.
view now.
Thank you, Mike. Really spectacular shot.
Okay, let's go wide, please.
Extended.
Wide eye.
There's one here towards
That's
the
the end
bottom.
of 900 meters.
It's extending from one of the eating polyps.
That's full
Yeah.
wide.
Yeah.
And a little bit
Towards
closer
you.
to the top, closer to the Ectophore, you can see
Start my
more tentacles being
heading.
deployed. So imagine when it's fully out there, it's a pretty serious veil for capturing prey.
Thank you, Mike.
Keep coming. Right. You're about there now, aren't you? Pretty close.
Yeah, pretty close.
What do you think the size was on that?
Back into position.
Pilots, did you have any estimate of how big that was?
There was an image of it in front of D2 in the Sirius video. Can rerun that for you, but it was on the order of a meter long. Just judging relative to the front of the vehicle.
All right, pilots, when you're in position, we'll
Thank you, pilot.
call the end of that and
I just asked the,
head to 1,000
Head
meters.
down, okay.
I just asked the pilots how big that
I don't think you
Siphonophore
need to
was,
stow 'em, really.
and their estimate was it was about 1 meter long.
Some headed down.
And we're now descending to the next transect at 1,000 meters.
Let you catch up to me a bit here.
We might mention that siphonophores get really, really long. They've been documented over 100 feet long. It's longer than a blue whale, so that makes them the longest organism on Earth, although not very massive and not heavy like a blue whale, but they do get longer than a blue whale.
Wow, Mike, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, just about to full speed. A little shy of it.
Alright. I'm at 50% on the verts here. That seems to be about where we're happy.
Catching up to you.
Okay.
And I could say, too, that along the east coast of the U.S., up on the continental shelf, salps and siphonophores have been one of the most frequent samples that we've collected when we use our plankton nets on fishery surveys that extend from the coast to the shelf break. So looking back over the last 40 years of that work, the most popular gelatinous animals that we seem to collect with those nets are salps and siphonophores, followed closely by ctenophores. We do get some of the medusae that are commonly seen at the beaches, but nowhere near the levels that we see the salps, the siphonophores, and the ctenophores on the continental shelf. And that's certainly significant for fisheries and many of the ecosystems right against our coast.
Thank you, Mike. So for anybody just tuning in, this is the Okeanos Explorer, and we're currently exploring the midwater. We're doing a series of 4 transects, currently descending to our 3rd transect at 1 kilometer down, looking in the water for what biology, what animals we can find. And so far we've found jellyfish, we've found some spectacular siphonophores, and we're hoping to find more. Maybe fish, maybe even an octopod.
Definitely feeling what appears to be a current from the south. I've got a lot of lateral into.
Yeah.
Maintain position.
Jives with tether position. South to northish.
Okay, slowing at 1,000 meters.
Slowing.
Stopping my descent.
pilots, we'll call that the beginning of the 1,000-meter transect.
Roger that.
Copy that.
So we're now at 1,000 meters, 1 kilometer below the sea surface, and we're setting up to do our next transect. We're currently having a pilot change while we're setting up.
For the past few Okeanos cruises, we've been working out the methods for doing these midwater observations. And now I think we've got them worked out pretty well. We know what we're doing, and so now we want to start doing them pretty regularly so we can compare midwater areas and wherever the Okeanos goes.
Watch lead, ROV nav.
Yeah, Mike, I think this is really important. I mean, there have been some growing pains.
Yes, pilot, I'm here.
To do this, but you're right. I think for
I was just going to let you know, for the guys back on shore, that the ship speed is 0.2 knots.
I remember writing this out at one
So
point.
we're running these transects around 2
I guess I don't know what the latest version of the methods would be.
Thank you.
Hey, Tim, I wrote out a set of instructions in lieu of doing a dive plan and sent them in for this cruise, but I can send you a copy if you want.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
I probably have last year's version at this point. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, pilot, I'm going to adjust your lights a little bit, but you're in a good position now.
I mean, frankly, if that
Maybe a little low.
methodology gets passed around a little bit to even other cruisers, right, that have opportunities to do that kind of thing, it would be
bottom right of frame's a little darker than the rest.
Is that what you're adjusting, Josh?
Yeah, that's true. We've proposed to do similar stuff with the Nautilus dives off Galapagos when they get out there later on this year.
What's your
that sounds great.
Dave said it was for.
And we did some on Galapagos a couple of years ago. Remember that?
That's definitely not good.
The midwater stuff around Galapagos is so interesting that we wanted to look some more.
Yeah, that's great.
Something went wrong.
And presumably, both mics, to really document what's down there, we need to do an awful lot of these transects.
Well, that's correct. And like I said, the only place this has been done enough to really put together patterns is in Monterey Canyon, because the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute does them regularly.
Video, let's go in on this.
Thank you, Mike.
I'll keep them framed. The capabilities of using high def video like this are almost required for a lot of the gelatinous plankton. Even with our best net systems,
microscope.
We just don't bring up organisms
Could have a microscope
intact to be able to understand their morphology properly, to be able to understand their foraging behavior. And we just don't have the capabilities to sample like this, where we can slice levels in the depth and
nice and
move
flat
along for a
here.
kilometer. So these techniques are
Slightest
extremely
bloom
useful.
on the left. I'm pretty happy with
Just
that.
past
should
Jellyfish.
definitely be used as much as possible.
It's too late.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm pushing just on a narrow hunt, pulling back out.
as I look at the screen, the small particles are really interesting, and in using instrumentation in the ROV,
Are you trying
whether it's
to weave?
small
Yeah.
video plankton recorder or
I thought it would cover more
holographic
ground
video
until I
plankton
see
recorder, or even
Yeah,
a
that's
particle
fine.
transitometer.
Things would have to be
I
going
think
pretty
would
bad
add
for
a
me
lot
not to be
the
trying
story
to
about the midwater.
That's why I'm asking.
That might really
doing a
sort
multiple
of
90-degree
what's
turns.
happening in the microscopic to what we're seeing in the
It's
megafauna.
my job to watch.
Just watch what?
No, you're fine.
That's right, and the small particles are really important. People sort of look at them and think that they're nothing, but a lot of them are what's called marine snow, and it's actually, some of it's mucus, some of it is the exoskeletons from crustaceans that live up closer to the surface, and it all sinks down to the bottom, and it's all transporting food to the animals that live on the bottom, and it's also transporting carbon out of the surface waters into the deep sea. So it's really important in the carbon cycle for the planet.
And of course, it makes the geology down there hard to observe as it accumulates on the seafloor.
Where's my Siphonophore? Dan just figured out how to spell it, so I can find another one.
In my notes, it's just SIPH.
Flipping position, you only need to know 3 letters to list the taxonomy of an organism. A little push here. There we go. Hello. Here's
Going on
more.
that swimming object.
Yeah, I used to add a frame up. They're pretty quick.
Yeah.
So, Mike's, when you see something, please chime in. I've lost my event logger again, so I can't see what you guys are writing.
All right, guys, where is everything?
You got it.
They're not showing up on the main HD feed, but on my focus feed, there are a lot of little small organisms here.
Do you want to just try going in?
They're
I
very,
don't think
very
we're going to
small.
get anything good on any of those small things. You can try.
But try and show the volume of them at least.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah,
are
just
just
go
the
in on-
bigger ones. Yeah.
Going on the center. See him there?
So I'm just rack focusing through
So at
here.
the moment,
There
the
it is.
pilots are trying to focus on these very small particles that are falling past us.
Went past us.
And it's
Coming back
very
out.
difficult because they're really small and they're moving and it's hard to get in and focus. But we're trying.
Top right.
Oh, yeah. Where'd he go?
Okay.
Disappeared.
Oh.
Get a little piece of gelatinous.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he has much structure. But okay, center, there's something
One
very gelatinous
center, yeah.
pushing
I
forward.
See him. I'm zooming. Keep him framed.
Driving towards him.
Mike's a jelly, maybe?
Whoa. He's close, I think. Well, hold on. I still have him.
He's inside your light pool.
Okay, backing up.
He's off to the right, off to top right, top right.
That looks kind of fuzzy, so it might have been
He's just got
kind of
swirled.
vacated,
Bring your
house.
heading to port. See where you are.
Yeah, watching.
Yeah, I think that was mucus. And there are a lot of animals down there that produce mucus webs, including the the larvaceans we mentioned before, but there's also midwater snails produce jelly webs and feed with jelly webs, similarly to the way I described for the larvaceans.
Thank you, Mike.
There you go. Right there. All right, video.
I see him
in the lights.
Through our lights.
So those little guys don't really appear until they're almost in the light, I guess.
The pilot was just telling us that the small guys just only appear when they are briefly in the light.
Oh, there's something.
Thing top right.
Yeah, going up to it.
Yeah, I don't think they can image the really tiny particles.
Still going up.
It's coming at you.
Okay, you can go in video.
Coming in. Holding.
Beautiful.
Wow, spectacular. Mike's?
Okay, it's gone. Oh.
It's a Millennium Falcon.
I might guess that was just more mucus, maybe a larvation house evacuated. See a lot of morphology in there.
No.
That's an active larvacean house. If you look real closely, you might find the little worm-like animal in there waving his tail to create water movement through his filter.
Pushing on.
Top left.
Same thing, but same organism. I think he's in our lights.
I'm gonna move one of the upper lights down.
There he is.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that idea, Copilot. Getting a lot of flare off of that one right now.
Oh,
yep.
Ooh.
I'm adjusting.
So
There you go.
let's try that.
So now we have one light out, one light down.
So the pilots here are doing a remarkable job, really. There's a current, and these creatures
One more minute, pilots.
are
Copy that.
Top right.
floating around all over the place, and we're trying our best to focus in and get great photography of these things. One more minute on this transect.
Oh, he's gone.
Center, lower right.
Yeah.
It's very close.
He's
Time is
coming
up.
fast.
Okay, that's the end of this transect.
Okay.
All right, full line.
So that was the end. We're going down to 1,100 meters now.
Yep. So if you
Correct.
want to center up on me.
And we're now going to descend to 1,100 meters to do the fourth of our 5 transects, and hopefully see something spectacular at 1,100 meters.
Okay. So if you start, I'll follow.
Copy that. Heading down.
Lateral to your starboard a little bit.
Yeah, I've got a 20% on starboard. It's just.
I'm going to zoom out the map for a second. How do you guys like the speed?
So, Mike, you were
It's
telling
pretty
us
good.
about
Faster, slower?
the work being done off
Happy?
Monterey.
Yeah.
How many years have they been collecting this sort of data?
Sorry, Mike, you were breaking up on my end.
Sorry, Mike, I'll try again. I was just commenting on that you mentioned about this kind of work not being done much before, but that it had been done in Monterey Bay. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? How many years have they been doing it, and so on and so forth?
Sorry, Mike, that was broken up a little bit. Let me check to make sure it's not on my end.
Something in Sirius view.
I can hear you quite well.
Briefly enough, I could hear you on the
Still
computer
dropping though, right?
after you had gotten done speaking.
Okay, Delta's 20. Pretty much
Um,
centered up.
I know that you were asking about how long they've been doing this kind of work in Monterey Canyon, and it's been probably almost 20 years they've been doing this kind of thing. So they have a very long data set and have been able to start compiling long-term patterns and getting very interesting results out of it. A lot of their results, like I said, are related to the part of the water where there's very little oxygen. If we were in Monterey Canyon right now, there'd be almost no oxygen in this water, whereas we are getting very high oxygen readings here. So
sure.
Remember, you
we
can
start
control
getting a lot of information from multiple locations, we can start comparing with the data set that they've compiled at Monterey Canyon.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, race me a little bit, Carl.
Yeah. Delta's 24. I just slowed down a little tiny bit.
I sped up a little bit.
Oh. Can you come back down to 15? Okay, Delta's 20. Delta's holding at 20. Halfway there. Delta 21, pretty well in center. 15 meters a minute.
This football location better.
Yeah, definitely.
Before, I remember it would bend in such a way that it was almost coming right at the HD when we were doing this. Bit scary.
Okay, 20 meters left to go. Delta's 22. Right.
So this is the Okeanos Explorer off the northwest coast of Puerto Rico, currently carrying out midwater transects. We're using the Deep Discoverer ROV to explore what's living in the midwater at depths of around 1 kilometer below the seafloor. We're about to reach 1,100 meters to start our fourth transect, and we'll transect east for about 1 kilometer, looking for the organisms that we can see that might be living at these depths in the ocean.
Okay, I am stopping my descent.
Continuing until I get a delta of something.
Copy that.
You're in a good spot if you want to look around a little bit.
Yeah.
Delta's 24. Still.
Okay, video. We're going to keep looking.
Roger that.
Okay.
Pilots ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Begin.
Okay, we're now at 1,100
Lower
meters below
right
the
is
sea
range,
surface,
yeah, it's
and
moving
we're
towards
about to
us.
start our
Frame
transect.
center now in our light pole.
You can zoom if you'd like. I don't see it.
It's gone.
Oh. So it seems like the best images are, of course, of the large things that we can actually, but we have to find those. We haven't had any luck with these small ones. There's something.
Dead ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fish.
Back up.
Okay,
It's already there.
looks.
Good call, co-pilot.
Good job. He's
I don't know.
spinning down.
he's going down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And out.
He suddenly appeared. He looked bigger than he was.
He's still there.
You can go down. Try to go.
He's dropping pretty quick.
Okay. It's in the center now.
You have to get closer. Fish of some
Well,
kind.
I'm way at the edge of our lights.
Okay, driving in.
We're zooming in on this object floating in the water.
Stealth is good. I'm coming down a little bit.
Oh, it's
There he goes.
some sort of fish.
He was just hanging there.
Yeah, he was.
I have a little tether bounce.
Yeah, I'm going to come down a little bit. There's something above you,
Oh yeah, I see that.
between you and Sirius. I have no idea where it is, though. That could be like
I know there's no
10
depth.
meters above you. There's a little less current here, it seems. You might be able to get in on some of these small guys.
I had 18% laterals to resist a current from the south on my way down.
If anybody was watching that image of the fish, Mike Vecchione just identified it as a dragonfish.
Dragon. Oh, jeez.
We try and, if you don't mind, probably just do a quick zoom and rack through some of this smaller
Sure.
stuff.
I'll
Get
hold
a
here.
feel for the.
There are many, many species of these black dragonfish that are down in the midwater, and some of them are so similar in appearance that you have to look at
All
the
right, coming back
the
out. Why?
pattern of
Continuing the hunt.
photophores or light-emitting organs that are both on their body and on the bottom of
frame,
the
small organisms
barbel that
swimming
extends from
starboard
their to the
port.
bottom chin.
Just went left frame.
It was interesting that it was
There we go,
pointing
top right.
downward. A lot of times when we see fishes in the water, they have characteristic postures.
Roger.
They're either horizontal
Yep.
or they're vertical with their head up, or like in this case, they're vertical with their head down.
Just do lateral to your starboard,
Yeah. Laterally back to center.
and then back up a little.
Thank you, Mike. I was just about to ask you about dragonfish.
There we go. Okay.
Gotta come back too, Carl.
Yeah. Just as I was talking about the current.
Yeah. Seems like we're in a river now.
That one
Okay.
was unusual because it was pointing head down. Usually when
Put
we
a
see them,
Sirius heading back
they're
to
horizontal in
090.
the water because they have light organs all along the bottom part of it. They use to break up the silhouette so that things can't see them from below.
There we go.
So, Mike, any idea why it was pointing down? Does that indicate that it's not doing
Okay.
well?
Happy
or-
again.
No, it could be that it was responding to the lights of the sub.
Of course.
But I'm just guessing at this point.
Sure. No, of course. Thank you.
Looking for something large here.
Pilot, are you feeling lucky?
I am.
Good.
Something.
Frame.
All right.
Quick.
He is coming quick.
Oh. Well, you don't really have to zoom, huh?
Well, I'm just going to try and keep him in frame here.
Okay, I think he's in good light. You can go to him. Oh.
I think he's going to bounce into frame center here. Oh. He's getting in our thruster wash.
Yeah.
So I think that was some more...
That's another one of those Larvacean houses. What you're seeing is the inner part of the mucus structure, which is the real filter. And then there's an outer part as well that's really difficult to see. It's actually much larger than that, but you have to have the lights just right to be able to see the outer mucus.
Above 1100.
Thank you, Mike.
Top center. He's coming real fast now. You just want to have frame
left.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
What'd you see on the left?
There's
oh,
left.
yeah.
It's almost cylindrical. Ooh.
Good catch, pilot.
Well,
another like gelatinous left center.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get back to that. Yeah, he's gone.
You have time.
Nice center frame.
No, that's the same gelatinous. I was looking for the one I missed. Nope.
There's two on the right coming in.
Yeah. Okay.
Pushing.
3 more minutes.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Transect.
Okay, we've got 3 more minutes
Four
to this
is
transect, and it looks like
You have time.
we've got a jelly.
Plenty of time.
I'm pulling out. Full wide. Full wide. He's in light pull.
He's inside. I just back up very slowly. Try not to disturb him. No good.
So we had a brief glimpse of a spectacular jelly there. And by jelly, I mean jellyfish.
There's something.
Do you think?
Yeah, bottom left.
I go for the bigger one that's bottom left. Okay, coming in slowly.
So the pilots are carefully searching to see if they can find different organisms at these midwater depths, and it really is quite tricky.
The one behind him.
We're trying to peer into the
That one looks
darkness
pretty good, though.
and then zoom in when we find something. And the
You're way out at the end of your tether. That's why you keep getting yanked.
And the pilots have found a little something here.
I'll wait a minute here for Sirius, and then we'll get this jelly. We'll get more and more
You can
tether.
also bring Sirius down some.
Oh, he's coming. Video, we'll try to get closer, but while we're here, we can zoom on this jelly.
Roger that. That's interesting.
Okay, we've got a jellyfish.
Very nice, Carl.
I think I see long tentacles off. Oh, you can see them now on the main HD.
And we're about
Still got plenty of time.
to get some spectacular photography.
Wow.
Yeah, I would hold there. As far as forward.
Going back in.
He's drifting towards you.
Yeah.
Holding.
I'll just tilt up a bit.
You
Okay.
can also try lateraling left, and he'll still come in front of you. Very nice, Carl.
And Mike Vecchione has just chimed in on the chat log and told us that this is a Paralia. So a beautiful jellyfish called a
This
Paralia.
jellyfish, Paralia, is a really nice example of the color of many things you see at these depths. A lot of things are red, and that's because the only light that penetrates down here is blue, and blue doesn't reflect off the redness of the animal. Basically, it makes being red makes you invisible when you're in blue light.
Thanks, Mike.
You're looking great. Yeah, get co-pilot to help you on camera if you need it. Your call, just suggestions.
So here we're seeing this jellyfish just slowly swimming.
Okay, co-pilot, you can actually hold there.
Very spectacular.
You're doing great, Carl.
Go in a bit more video.
Roger.
Just as I say that, we bounce.
That's right. Catch them on the up, I think.
So one of the mics, could you just describe this jelly as we're watching it?
Your turn, Mike Ford.
Yeah, no, this is a great example of one of the, these large medusae that you can find down here. Mike talked a little bit about the coloring. This is a great image where you can see the tentacles really just pretty clearly, and some of the structure right along the bottom of the bell.
Midwater Transect is done, actually.
See these lapis, little fringes,
Thank you, pilot.
kind of flex outward and then inward. And that, again, has a lot to do with the way these animals control flow. I've done a lot of studies where we've imaged the fluid flow around these skyph medusae.
1,100 meter transect.
And they create these vortices, these toroids that entrain prey. And if the zooplankton prey can't swim out of that prey, will be brought along some of the capture surfaces on the tentacles, and up underneath the bell, you'll see some oral arm structures, and all of those are studded with stomatocyst stinging cells. So, watching that swimming was great. Almost looked, slow motion, and you can kind of see the flex of the margin of the bell and the movement of the tentacles and the flow of the water that is pulsing along.
Thanks, Mike. That was great. So we ended our 1100 meter transect, and we're descending to our final transect at 1200 meters below sea level. So once again, if anybody's listening on the web, just to recap, is today we're going to do a dive to 4,000 meters to explore the west wall of the Mona Canyon. Mona Canyon is a very large north-south trending canyon with its bottom, at least where we'll be, at 5 kilometers below the seafloor, and it extends upwards to about 2 kilometers below the seafloor. So it's at least 3 kilometers deep where we'll be diving. We'll be diving from 4,000 meters to about 3,500 meters, and that's to come later today. But at the moment, we're at about a 1 kilometer, or 1,100 meters to be exact, below the sea surface, and we're doing a series of 5 midwater transects. These transects involve us stopping every 100 meters and then traversing about a kilometer in an easterly direction, very slowly looking for organisms living in these midwater depths. Because much of the ocean, and especially this part of the ocean, is really poorly explored, and we're documenting the kind of creatures and the number of creatures that we can see at these levels. So we've done 4 of these transects, and we're descending to our last one for today. We'll do some more of these as the cruise goes on, but we're going to do our last one today at 1,200 meters below the sea surface. So, Mike, can you comment so far if you've seen what you expected, or is there things you've seen that you didn't expect?
Okay, Delta's 23, centered up pretty well.
Well, for me,
I'll go ahead and comment and say, yeah, this is the fauna that we expected to see, and probably the kind of densities that we expected to see. Although, if you compare them with what we saw for the past couple of years up in the New England canyons, there's a lot less of some kinds of animals like salp. We saw very high abundances of salp in some of those canyons.
How are you doing that?
So it's really interesting, and we're getting really good information out of the
well, let me know when you do stuff.
Transect. The other thing I wanted to mention is that the depth of these transects go through sort of a transition between what we call the mesopelagic, or the twilight zone, where there's enough sunlight during the middle of the day that it actually penetrates dimly to that water. And we're going down into what we call the bathypelagic, where it's too deep sunlight to penetrate. And there are different types of animals that live in the mesopelagic and in the bathypelagic. But we sort of think of the interface at 1,000 meters as being a hard and fast separation between two groups of animals, but it's actually a transition zone. So we're interested in the transition between the deep twilight zone and the upper part of the really deep ocean.
CL, you're backing out of my screen.
Thank you, Mike. You guys are doing a great job bailing me out.
You were before, but now you're back farther. So if you push out a little bit,
you're catching up to me.
Well, we appreciate doing the Midwater Transect.
Good.
That is our tether length, that's why.
ROV team, I just wanted to say thank you while we're here. I mean, the pictures are great. I mean, spectacular. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Watch Lead.
Hey, you're welcome. We'll find some good stuff at this depth.
There you go.
So I wasn't backing down the tether, it was actually pulling me down. Okay, Delta's 22. $20 meters to go.
So we've got 20 meters to go before we reach 1,200 meters below sea level, and This is where we'll do our
Guys, I
last
would ease up on your delta.
1
Look at your
kilometer
strain relief. If you can
midwater
handle it,
transect.
Top right.
Oh,
Sorry, serious strain
yeah.
relief. You guys are yanking it down.
Yeah, it's hard when the tether just bumps up in between and hits the camera.
You got more room than you think before it hits the camera.
Okay,
You have to keep some forward way on, Carl, because the drag on the tether pulls you back also.
8 meters to go. Okay. Coming to a stop at 1200 meters.
Okay, we're at 1200 meters, about to start our last transect.
Okay. RV's at 1203.
So everybody out there, keep your eyes peeled
Delta
for
20.
exciting, spectacular
Pilot's happy?
organisms.
Well, that's good.
Roger. Begin 1200 meter transect.
Okay. Just so you know, Copilot, I overshot a little, so I'm going to just come up the 4 meters. So you can adjust.
You're pretty far out.
Yep.
You're going to get tugged a little bit.
I will wait here and find something.
So we're currently doing a transect at 1200 meters below the sea surface, traveling about 1 kilometer due east at about 0.2 knots, looking for spectacular midwater organisms. And so far we've seen a variety of organisms and collected some spectacular photography of jellyfish, siphonophores, a hatchfish, a dragonfish, and hopefully we're going to see more.
something.
Yeah.
Coming at you. Just out of your...
Came and went. Pushing ahead.
And you're almost out of my screen. Tugging me around.
So, Mike, you talked about us looking at this transition zone, and we're now on the 5th of our 5 transects, so we're 400 meters below our first transect. Would you expect there to be less organisms at this depth than, say, at 800 meters? How would you expect we might see variation with depth?
Sorry, I had trouble turning my mute off.
5 minutes remaining.
Yes, I would expect that the abundance of organisms in general would decrease as you get deeper in the water column. However, one nice thing about ROVs is that, like nets, you can get really detailed observations on depth zones. And what they found in Monterey Canyon is that there are very narrow bands of depth where you find higher abundances of some kinds of animals. So the general pattern of decreasing abundance with depth, although it's true overall, there can be some really striking variations to that pattern.
Thank you, Mike. So we're now at 1,200 meters, and we're exploring. We're exploring the midwaters at 1,200 meters depth, looking for examples of spectacular organisms living at these depths, or for that matter, transiting these depths.
Two minutes, Carl.
We've got 2 more minutes left on this transect.
I'm not at the end of my tether looking. Find something in the last minute.
And Mike, I think looking at the layers that we've had so far, at 800 meters, we're at about 7.4 C.
Stopping,
about 4 milligrams per liter. dissolved oxygen. As we move down, here we are now at 1,200 meters. We're at about 5C, at about 7.2 milligrams per liter oxygen. So slight changes there. Certainly realistic changes in temperature. And like Mike was saying before, I think that's pretty high oxygen concentrations here.
Sure. Thank you.
Once this transect's over, I'd like to just take a moment to try an unconventional approach with the camera.
Okay.
30 seconds or so.
Small one.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Going on my left side.
Yep. Turn and drive across. Oh, I'm pulling you now. Driving back to your center.
And for anybody out there watching, this is really difficult for the pilots, trying to find these objects which are relatively a long ways away, and then zoom in on focus on them as they're moving in front of us. It really isn't an easy thing to do, and they're doing a great job.
Pilots, you're out of time.
Okay, we just completed the last transect at 1,200 meters. The last
Great, thanks.
of 5 transects. And we'll now be continuing our descent to nearly 4 kilometers on the West Valley wall of the Mona Canyon.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Hey, Mike, thanks everybody for that. That was a great set of transects and really exciting from my perspective to be able to watch these. It is the ability to kind of soar through the water and see these organisms as they are without being touched by a net. And they're allowed to sit there and behave as they mostly normally would. And the ability to see these things at these depths is really fantastic. So thank you.
Can you restart it there?
Our pleasure. I mean,
this is Mike Becchione again, I echo that. I thank you for doing a great job on the transect. I'm looking forward to more later on in the cruise, and I think we got some really nice imagery on this this set of transects. So I think we started out really well. Thank you.
Well, thank you both, and yeah, I agree totally. I mean, I found it exciting, and we'll be pleased to do some more as we go through the cruise. And again, I can't thank the ROV team enough for the beautiful imagery and the work that they've just done. Thanks, everybody.
Not ideal, but it might help us get back into a valid state.
I'm going to sign off of the conference line now.
Thank you, Mike. Goodbye. Have a good day.
Bye.
No, because the fence is still on. I don't know what it would do.
You can put auxiliary on. It should take over.
Hey, Mike, we're heading to the bottom now, right?
Yes. So we're going to go down to about...
I'm going to stay on, but I'm going to walk out and find a coffee. The ECC is well equipped. It just doesn't have an espresso machine.
Sure, no worries.
Can you turn the auxiliary off, Josh? It's just saying I'm spinning in circles. Is it programmed to just take over from the fins if you turn it on?
Yes.
Something went wrong.
We got 670 meters to our bottom target.
Okay.
So if you'd like, you can stretch out again and we'll get the ship over there.
Is the fins restarting? Or?
I'd like to figure out the fins before I start driving around.
Do you want me to power cycle it, Bobby?
Sure.
Did you hit the gears and hit restart?
No, but you guys can restart too.
Once we're, so I'm going to turn to starboard to string us out, and then we'll have to reset the turn scanner too.
Yep.
So to recap, we're on our fourth dive. This is Okeanos Explorer with the ROV Deep Discoverer exploring the waters around Puerto Rico. This is our fourth dive today, and we've just spent the last hour or so exploring the midwater of the oceans, looking for the creatures that live at those depths and trying to document them because we know so little about the creatures and how many and their habits at this sort of depth. But for the rest of the day, we're going to dive down to the seafloor at about 3.9 kilometers
So let's see, our delta's
and
21.
explore the west wall of an extremely deep canyon called the Mona Canyon. The Mona Canyon is a north-south trending canyon that, at least where we're diving, has its bottom at 5 kilometers below the seafloor. And we'll be starting at 4 kilometers above a big landslide deposit, hopefully looking at the rocks in the cliff and extending up, coming up as far as we can come, but probably to somewhere around 3,400 meters. And our objective really is to look at the geology, to understand what rocks there are down there, to look at the structure and the possibility of landslips. And in fact, we'll be looking at the head wall of a major landslide that occurred probably at least 100 years ago. It's a big landslide. It's clear in the bathymetry, but we actually don't know when it happened, except that it was at least 100 years ago. It may have been related to the big 1918 earthquake that affected the west coast of Puerto Rico. And of course, we'll be looking for the biology as well. So hopefully we'll have a very exciting dive. And I guess it's worth pointing out that this will be one of the deepest dives that's ever taken place in the waters around Puerto Rico. There have been dives before, but they've tended to be at depths of 3 kilometers or less. And we're going down to nearly 4 kilometers today. So hopefully it'll be really exciting.
Okay, I'll just, now that I'm past you, I'll just push out if you want to take auto head off.
Auto head disengaged.
Okay. There I am. Okay, I'll zero the turns after the fins reset. Okay, I'm 16 below. We're strung out in the direction of ship travel. If you want to start coming down at 30,
Coming down.
I'll dial up.
Can I make a ship move? Roger that.
Yeah. Oh, you have to change it from the 0.2. Delta is 3. Strung out nicely. Do we want to white
Hi,
balance
have you
again
got
when
somebody
we get to
else on the
bottom?
conference line? Can you introduce yourself?
That's up to video.
What was that, pilots?
Do we want to white balance again on when we get to the bottom or closer?
I don't. We'll look at what our colors are when we get there, but I
Okay.
don't anticipate the need. But I won't be here.
Neither will we.
Bridge, ROV nav.
ROV nav bridge.
Hey, we are finished with our Midwater Transects, so we'd like to make a move to our final bottom target. From our current position, that would be 675 meters, bearing 088 degrees, 0.4 knots.
Roger that, ROV nav. I have 675 meters, bearing 088 at 0.4 knots.
Good copy. Thank you, Bridge.
Roger that.
Pilots, increasing speed of the ship to 0.4 of a knot.
Okay.
That will get us to target about half an hour before bottom.
I will turn off my forward way once we're up to speed.
What's our target depth?
3,930.
Yeah, turn on your compass again, pilot. See what
ROV nav bridge.
Okay,
Go ahead, Bridge.
Hey, we've started the position move, and when you get a chance, we'd like to discuss the bailout position.
We can do that right now if you'd like.
Yeah, that sounds good.
It's working now.
Definitely wasn't before.
Bridge, if you take a look at high pack, deeper water is northeast. We will be heading upslope,
Okay.
kind of southwest. So bailout will be northwest off the wall. Sorry, excuse me, northeast off the wall.
Okay, so we have our bailout position northeast off the wall, and I can see that in high pack right now.
Roger that. Good copy.
Sounds good. Thanks, Nav.
Thank you, Bridge. Pilots, not sure if you copied, but here's our dive for the day, heading uphill in the southwesterly direction.
Can we zoom in on high pack on the ship for a second? I lost you in my tether came from.
Yeah, I can still see you in
there
mine,
you are.
but
I'm being turned
yeah.
as the ship speeds up. Alright.
I always like to keep an eye on you, Carl.
I got worried for a sec, but I can't see your light there. I thought maybe when the fins rebooted it changed our depths or something. Okay.
No, that shit.
I mean, I don't know. I thought the depths were wrong because I couldn't see myself, but you were really just turned.
Yeah, the ship yanking us along. Oh, fault's back.
Pilots, we might re-aim the mini Zeus so we can see the lower front of the ROV before bottom.
83 minutes to bottom.
Thank you.
Good morning, this is Andrea Quattrini on the Okeanos Explorer, just checking audio, and Tim and Amanda Hui, did you guys have issues with the line? We're cutting in and out.
So right now the conference line is coming in loud and clear, Andrea. Good morning.
Good morning.
Amanda.
How are you?
The biggest thing is right now the speakers that we have set for the front row, so we can only hear the front row. We can still pick up you guys in the back row, and so it's I'm not sure if the mics are extra sensitive or what, but for some reason we're picking you up.
Okay, let me talk to video about that.
Separate the two.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Video watch lead.
Watch lead video.
So back on shore, I'm not sure if you heard that. They were just saying that they're picking up the back row speakers through the front row. So there's a lot of noise coming through. Yeah, correct. So the front row audio is, the back row audio is bleeding through the front row.
So now what's our ETA to bottom? You did?
Yeah, it was 83 minutes.
Well, it's new now. We've already...
Yeah. Is it still 83 minutes?
Excuse me, pilots. 81 minutes.
Thank you, Nav.
Oh, them are fighting.
Delta is 13. I can't hear you, girl.
I've been slowly reducing my Z-bias, trying to
adjust.
Stay with you. Try not to do any big moves.
So, at some point we should try the craft for 30 seconds.
Should we do it now?
Pilots, so that you know, the given bottom target was 3930, but the contours are, the 10-meter contours were slightly off from that. So just keep a good eye on your altitude once we start to get a bit closer.
Gotcha.
100-meter contours lined up, but the 10s were about 15 meters off. So like we saw yesterday. vessel track what keeps it auto-centered?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't like that.
No, that gets annoying.
Also, do you know if this new version of HiPAC has a watch circle feature yet? A circle you can place around a vehicle or a ship or vessel. You can put it around any vessel and it will alert you.
They've always had anchor watch.
I feel like last time I tried that wasn't
but maybe
quite what
you
we were
had to
looking
be
for.
you had to be in the dredge program or something.
Yeah. It'd be ideal to have a watch circle that if a selected vessel or the vessel that watch circle set to drifts outside of it, it alerts you. It'll pop up message or turns red or something.
Yeah.
That helps us keep an eye on ship's autos, ROV autos, anything.
I remember you looked for it, and then I looked for it last year, and neither of us could find it.
Yeah, I was just curious if 2014
it might
had an update.
Okay, Delta seems happier.
I will.
Has the craft controllers been on this whole time? Huh?
Yes. So you can check to see if there's any comm errors.
No comms. I reset it when you turned it on.
Alright, well, let's move it around for a minute and see. As long as one of us keeps an eye on Delta and the ship streaming. You guys like that plan?
So, just to give you an update on the contours. So the 3900 contours.
This is the Okeanos Explorer Hui ECC. Did you copy that from video?
39, 27 or so. So we're about 10 meters off. It's a similar distance on the other side, but when I take off the 10s, we're right in line with. Bring down our stop. Oh, I can't scroll when this is on.
Hui ECC. This is the Okeanos Explorer. Do you copy?
Yeah, you can see the end is right where it should be.
This is the Okeanos Explorer. Do I have anybody on the conference line with me?
That's all.
Thank you, Nev. Could just be the depth. We don't usually dive as deep as 4,000, so maybe there's must be some percentage error with depth.
Is the engineering log around here? Ah.
Thank you, ISD. Okay, we'll do.
So, real quick, pilot. What I actually clicked was the dotted track. What I was looking for was the auto recenter. Do you know where I can change that? Disable that?
Oh, yeah. Close this. Under, no, on the map, under settings, there's toggle tracking.
Ah, there we go. Yes, do not want that. Thank you. You guys are swinging north.
Delta went to -1. Down a little more.
We are passing a depth of 1665 meters, 1665 meters. Nav watch lead.
Go ahead, watch lead.
Do we give an estimate of the surface currents or the currents during your midwater transects?
Stand by. Do you recall roughly what you were facing? It was
Yeah, it kept
pushing you south, right?
pushing me south, yeah, about a quarter knot or half knot.
That's what I thought. Well, actually, not sure if you heard pilot there. At the surface, we were seeing a little bit current north, south, and then at the 800 meter transect through about the 1,000 meter, it was about a quarter knot south.
So just to repeat, there was little surface currents at the surface from north to south?
Yeah, I mean, the surface current was negligible this morning. We didn't even try to counter it during launch.
Okay, and then you said about a quarter of a knot at 1,000 meters? Okay.
We didn't take any sort of measurement, but just on a gut feeling by two pilots. It was heading south at about a quarter of a knot.
Thank you. That's a fine gut feeling.
Yeah, disable your craft controller for a second, Carl.
Okay. Nav, can I get one of the binders from up there?
Any particular one? Skinny or thick?
Skinny.
Yeah, it's the craft controller.
Give me the ground fault.
Yeah.
I missed. Did that correspond to anything? Because you had it enabled. Did you?
Did you have the hydraulics on?
No, it just dropped all of a sudden.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Send it back on.
Watch your delta.
Okay, I think I'll try to run it and see if it fails. I won't move it very far. If at all.
I'm still waiting on an update for the DC bus return.
Came back, 1400.
Maybe there's something funky going on with that GFM. Yeah, you want hydraulics?
Yes, please.
Speed out of regulation.
Transducers look good. Topside voltages look good.
Hydraulics enabled.
Great.
set.
Master pots look good. Slave pots are perfectly still. Checksum error probably help with that.
Vehicle deltas look good. Vehicle headings look good.
Com 0 timeout, 0 sync, 0 checksum, 100%. Com fail action hold. Force feedback on. Okay. I'll give you my mini Zeus, Josh. Okay, enabling hydraulics. Still 0 timeouts. Indexing out. So far, so good.
What was that video? Yeah, all swing arms are stowed.
Oh, just freaked out.
I did not like that. Force feedback, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, disable force feedback.
Can I do it now? No.
With all the current.
Oh, it just dropped.
Yep. Delta 5, heading still look good.
Well, I purposely didn't rotate the jaw, so that wouldn't happen. Alright, well I'll just disable force feedback, bring the shoulder back up, and then be done testing.
Yeah, with the current, it's very easy to get a feedback loop going, where you're fighting the current. And
Gotcha.
so.
But 0.4 knots you might see on the bottom.
Yeah, but I think we're sinking quicker than 0.4 knots.
Oh, that's true. True. Okay. No errors during that, though. Okay. Force feedback is off. Hydraulics on. And indexed in. I don't even think I had a chance to do it.
It died on you?
Yeah.
Delta 5, heading's
0
good.
errors. Okay, one more try. Okay, shoulder is all the way up. Yep. Okay. Indexed out. Hydraulics off.
Was that you that killed it, or did it?
I killed it.
You killed it. Okay.
Yeah.
Hydraulics coming down.
During all of that, no errors.
So, one of the other things we can do is, because we adjusted the gains in the shop, we could go back to do a factory reset. And we have a bad ground fault.
Turn off.
Okay, this is the Okeanos Explorer. We're passing 2,000 meters, and as we pass 2,000 meters, just to remind everybody that today is the 4th dive of the Oceano Profundo expedition. We are currently in Mona Canyon, which is to the west of Puerto Rico. We will be diving to a depth of approximately 3,900 meters and moving up slope to as shallow as we can during the course of the day.
$62 minutes to bottom.
So Copilot, will you record that in the log that we had two, I don't know, you'd call them hydraulic off failures and no timeouts or checksums?
No timeout either?
Nope. No errors for the whole time.
Co-pilot watch lead.
Go ahead, watch lead.
Just curious, do we have a CTD on both Sirius and D2, and they're on from the start of the dive throughout the course of the dive?
That's correct. But we only have one O2 sensor on, and that is on D2.
Thank you.
Pilots, I adjusted your sonar for bottom acquisition.
Thank you. I was going to ask you to do that.
Andrew, it's Mike. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, Mike?
I'm great. I have some coffee now, so I'm feeling much better.
Oh, good.
So the question about the CTD package is, I think at certain stations, does the ship do actually an off-side of the ship
Video, I have
CTD
a question
profile
for you.
Yeah, they can. They have in the past for this cruise because we're operating on longer dive ops. We won't be doing any CTD casts from the ship. We're just going to have to rely on the CTD on both Sirius and D2.
Okay, that sounds cool.
Cool.
Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, my question was, so my mom's listening at home. She said she hears all the voices at once. Is there a way to change that?
Well, the reason I was asking, and you don't have to change the plan, obviously, I think that large package has a transmissometer on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if we could add that to one of the CTDs. I think they're the same. I think they're the same model that's on the Rosette package versus what's on the D2. I can ask. I'll find out about it.
I see.
Yeah,
yes,
so it's saying,
I don't think
I don't
turn off.
I don't know about depth endurance
channel in my laptop.
Of the laser transmissometer, but yeah, that's cool.
I
That
have
would be
the
great.
balance,
Okay.
right. All right. I'll pass that on. Or she might be listening now. Thank you, Ed.
Is that posted next to the live
Co-pilot
feeds?
watch lead.
Okay.
Maybe we should add a button that says listen to one, the other, or both. You know, big green buttons on the side.
I don't have you latched.
you have a question, Watchley?
I did. We just have the only extra sensor is the oxygen sensor, correct, on the
On the D2.
on the D2.
Yes.
Is it
Otherwise, the two CTDs are the same.
okay? Does it have an extra port for like a transistometer sensor at all?
I am not sure about that.
Okay, I can ask later. I'll ask Brian.
Yeah.
The Brians.
Yes, we can look into it.
Thank you.
Watch lead, Nav.
Yeah, go ahead, Nav.
If you catch Dave right, the CTDs are his baby at
Okay.
points.
That's
I think
Dave.
he'd have the information for you off the top of his head.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it does have a lot of open
I
spots.
think they're the same models that's used on the D2 and the Sirius and the one that is on the Rosette usually.
Yeah, that's the same model.
Yeah,
and
so
we
they
can
should
provide
have
you the data sheets and manuals.
Ports,
But
plugins. Okay.
Dave Wright might just have that at the top of his head.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, Delta's 3, streaming well. See each other in both cameras.
Sorry, I was trying to ask you guys to unlatch me, and I was muted, so you were looking at me like, what do you need? Sorry.
Watch lead, what was the device you were asking for?
Transmisometer.
Dave Wright Workshop. If you're listening to Watch Lead, they're wondering about the capability of the CTD. And if we can add a transmisometer. I'm not sure I got that right.
Transmissometer?
Transmissometer?
Maybe.
Workshop, turn on EXWL and we'll get Watch Lead to ask.
Transmissometer, yes. Did I not say that?
Roger, thank you, Dave. Watch Lead, are you able to hear Workshop in your back row? If not, the gist is it's an SBE9, and if we have one on board along with the calibration files, we should be able to add it.
Great, thanks.
Got a little haircut, a 911 fast cat.
Fast cat, yeah. Delta of 10. Still streaming. Current depth 2240.
I missed the M.
Can I latch you again, co-pilot?
Yes. Strange that the DC bus return groundfall monitor is the only one timing out.
It seems like the timeouts are related, and I think that I remember this from last year. They're related to when it drops often. Of course, that time it didn't happen, but you know, it keeps going below.
The concerning part about this DC bus timeout is that it's so quick. If it were the unit itself, power up, it usually has to go through a restart. Like typically when we see the comms lost to those units, they fail their self-test and have to go through it again. Process takes 30 seconds. We never see it because all 4 of them usually boot up in the time it takes for us to establish comms with the stack and just have the software boot up.
Oh, I see.
But if you were to open the chassis and look at it at power up, they'd all sit there, and all 4 of them would go through a self-test. It lasts 20 to 30 seconds. And so that those quick blips of timeout make me think it's a topside timing issue. Workshop has information for us if you guys want to listen in. Go ahead, Workshop. Yeah, Roger, Dave. That makes perfect sense and aligns kind of what I was thinking. The only other concern I have is when we see a fault condition, even though the value is above both alarm points. We sometimes see fault at 1600 kOhm. Now that might just be a response from a bad measurement, and it's changed since the measurement. But one thing I've noticed.
The timestamp is cycling every 22 seconds, and every time it updates, it also turns red. Blanks out before. I haven't seen a there's a timestamp change without it.
Yeah, it'll update without that happening.
Roger. Thanks, Dave.
Bar out. Delta of 7. Streaming nicely.
Nav, what's our time to
49
bottom?
minutes to bottom.
That was quick.
8 minutes until bottom target for the ship. Pilots, if you're okay, I'd like to increase the speed of the ship by a tenth. Bridge, RV nav.
Nav, bridge, go ahead.
Yeah, the move that we're on should be at 4/10. Can we increase a tenth to half a knot?
Yes, copy that. No problem. I will increase to half a knot.
Thanks, Bridge.
Sure.
Interesting. Pilots is watch lead.
Go ahead, watch lead.
So I've just got a note from a few folks back in Puerto Rico who study, they're physical oceanographers, and they study the currents in the Mona Passage. And I emailed them yesterday to see about the current that we experienced. So for the majority of the dive, we had little current, and even we were at 300 meters for at least an hour and didn't feel any current. And then all of a sudden, we felt that strong current of over a knot. And it's possible that it's could be the release of a trapped internal wave.
What is a trapped internal wave?
Well, an internal wave is a buoyancy wave that can move, and so it says that, let's see, one of the standard explanations for a large internal wave over steep topography calls for a strong cross-flow over the ridge, so that the standing internal wave is formed on the lee side. And in the case of Mona Passage, where we were yesterday, it was located on the northern edge. So, I'm reading an email. So if a trapped standing wave had been formed on the lee side, then at about the time we were there yesterday, it would have been released and then headed south across the area. So that is the possible explanation. And be aware that it says that just be aware that this could happen to us again if we go back to the Mona Passage. Anyway, it's pretty cool.
Great, thanks. Watch this.
Yep.
I think they see really big internal waves in the South China
Bridge,
Sea.
RV nav.
I remember seeing some studies on that.
Bridge, ROV nav.
Nav, go ahead.
Yeah, what's your distance left in this move?
152 meters.
Roger that. Can we add another 50 to that?
Sure, no problem.
Sorry, I was calling on deck, I guess. Another 50 meters, please.
No problem.
I wonder if we'll see anything in the CTD data from yesterday. Maybe not.
Guess it depends if the water was different.
So pilots, we're getting quite a bit of layback, but we're also moving very quickly. So I've increased the speed to get us there quicker, and also added a little bit of distance past our bottom point. We should still get there with about a half hour to let the layback settle.
Copy.
Sounds good. Either of you want to try piloting for a little bit?
I don't think I'm ready for it, Carl. $2,600 meters, wire out.
Delta around 0.
Streaming nicely.
43 minutes to bottom.
That increase in speed made our delta go down a lot.
So it turns out the largest error in my estimates was the depth changes. You guys went quicker than 10 meters a minute on those. We had planned or portioned 100 meters for each of those. And we got 46, 23, and 46 on those.
Let me use for a second. See if I can see this.
Almost, if we twisted it just a little tiny bit, you could see it well.
Degrees, yeah.
Okay, delta's 5, streaming well. Depth 2687. Nav, could you restart the sonar? Thank you, Nav. So, one interesting thing I've noticed about this camera angle is it seems to shift which side is bigger every day. Sometimes you can only see the rubber bumpers, and like today you can see them. Not quite sure.
I was going to agree. I don't remember being able to see the
Yeah,
tempo mount.
The first day, or at first you could see so much of the box on starboard and almost none of the port.
I think the lighting is messing with us a little bit. The starboard side is very dark right now.
No, it's not the lighting.
Dark or not, you should still see the box.
Yeah, the box is there. It's just not.
No, but you couldn't see. You could see most of the box, and you couldn't see any of the nickel or ball.
I remember being able to see the ball. I mean, well, I could be wrong.
No, we definitely talked about it a couple days ago. How we.
What do you think's changing?
That's what I don't know.
I don't see much of a difference.
It's definitely not the frame extensions because they can support the vehicle. Maybe the camera mount is slightly loose, or because the clamps are covered in rubber. As they compress at depth, it shifts it around or something. I don't know. Or the head inside the body. Well, something's
Just
moving.
have to get video to take a snap, and we'll compare it over the next set of dives. Or just take a picture of the screen with your phone. Compare.
Yeah, hold that.
No, still definitely could see a lot more of the box the other day. Had no nickel.
I remember being able to see the bolts on both sides.
Yeah, right.
And if you saw the bolts, you would see the nickel.
Well,
And I remember a conversation about how we thought you could see more on the port wing than the starboard wing. And I made a comment about the box making it appear.
I recall that conversation being the direct opposite, that you could
opposite
see
of that.
more on the starboard, and we thought it was the box that was messing with our perspective.
let's all agree to disagree.
Yeah.
But since it's 2-1, I think we know who's right. I'll take a picture, and then in a few days we'll revisit it. I'll try to make the Photoshop not blurry too. You can take a still.
Video. Hey, video. What are the chances? Sure.
Sure.
What are the chances we have a similar angle somewhere over the last couple days? Clipped.
Yeah, we probably didn't take any beauty shots like this.
No. But we have looked like this during descents, so I'm not sure if they clipped on bottom maybe or something that would have it.
Video, if you zoom in a bit, how much or what? By not much, huh? Yeah. Do you have an idea of what, like, percentage of your zoom you have to use up to crop them out? Yeah, that's true. Okay.
$2,915 meters wire up. Streaming nicely, filter 2.
30 minutes to bottom.
Nice. Oh, is the ship stopping soon?
Yeah, it should be.
Or just noticed my heading is a bit off of Sirius now.
It hasn't stopped yet, but it should be.
Is your heading updating?
No, we're invalid again.
That's why it's a bit off.
Nav bridge.
Go ahead.
We have about 11 meters left in this move.
Roger, thank you.
Sure.
Did you disable the GPS?
See if you can get it to restart just with the little, the restart we used to do last year. Let's
Pilot ship is coming to a stop.
copy that. Someone taking notes on that? This didn't happen in our other two 4,000 meter dives, as far as I know.
No, it didn't. It's the first time I've seen it.
That second one's a little more concerning. The first one, we did a lot of water column.
Although I guess if since we reset underwater without the proper lat and long or depth.
It came to fine alignment.
It gets the depth from the sensor though. So.
Yeah, it came to fine alignment when we reset it the second time. But maybe it just wasn't as good.
Yeah, but hopefully that's it. Okay, pushing out a bit.
Got to work on getting that USBL input.
Yeah, we have stuff to move forward on that.
Okay, we've just passed a depth of 3,010 meters, 3010 meters, headed to a depth of about 3,900 meters. Something large? Oh. I don't think that's a sea spider. It's definitely not. It's got different sized legs. Let's see.
Nav, this is Copilot.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just noticed your 100-meter contours.
Yeah.
You're missing a 3600.
Roger, thanks. Oopsie.
Oh, sorry, I was going to look that up.
Hey, Chris.
Sir.
Hey, Brian. I'm going to turn out that tail light. That's annoying. Not that one. Not that one. Which button is the tail light?
I think it's lower.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting. That's kind of confusing, but oh, it doesn't say swing arm. Got that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's a little bit easier to see the outline of the vehicle now.
Yeah, agreed. Word from the standby.
The ship store's open, ship store's open, ship store will be open for 15 minutes.
Word from the past watches that they did a white balance at
900, 800 meters. Okay.
Do we want to do another one, or do we want to wait and see what
I'm going to defer to my relief.
Okay.
All cameras are full wide, 9 dB of gain on RV HD Zeus Plus.
Copy, thanks.
Okay, we're at a depth of 3292 meters, 3292 meters, headed to a depth of 3900.
Powering up the craft to do a little diagnostic.
Copy that. Keep an eye on things. Delta's pretty steady around 5.
Oh, this isn't going to work at all. Now we got some calm. It's booted.
Good morning, pilots. Video here.
Morning.
Question, are we still on the descent, or are we doing Midwater Transects?
Descending.
Copy that.
I believe that we are done with transects until we reach bottom, which should be relatively soon.
Okay, I got the HP fired up at low RPM. I'm just going to enable hydraulics on the arm. Okay, doesn't want that. And let's see, mark the time for minutes 30. Go.
What's our target depth?
Yeah, co-pilot, it'd be 39:30.
Okay.
But we want to keep a good lookout because it's got about 10 meters of play in that.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. I'll keep an eye on that, Dave, if you want to play with the craft a little.
30. Okay. Already showing a
Did you copy that video?
280K fault.
You guys are going to be using the craft arm?
Just target depth 39.
No, copy that.
A little more.
I'm going to try and make an adjustment here, but your volume levels are a little unequal. So.
Copy.
Okay, we've got one timeout error with no arm activity. At
See that?
did it twitch?
Sure did.
Okay, that's an end of test. Craft controller powering down. Something's a little damp.
is at 7.
Yeah. Just taking a little bit of Z bias off here. I'm outrunning you slowly.
Yeah.
Seems like the arm craft rotated inboard as well. Did you do that, or?
I did not index. I didn't go into index. I just enabled hydraulics. I wanted to see if it would fault with no commands.
Awesome. Thank you.
Pilots, nav, do we have
Thank you, video.
enough room for me to make a ship move and try to get us a little closer to the target based on our offset? We have enough time?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
It's not a...
It's not steep. We can.
Yeah.
We can get out of trouble if need be. It'll just get us to the bottom sooner.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to move us. I'm going to move us southeast. Just to...
Are you obsessing about the X on the map?
I'm obsessing a little bit.
What's the range between our...
80 meters.
Now...
70.
You're just bored over there, aren't you?
No, that's not true at all.
Okay.
I was just looking at the... Well, so I did think about it a little bit. I'm looking at this and the fact that there's a steep wall here, and if that's what they want to get to, and if we try to do it from here, it's a little more along the contours, or if we can slide a little bit here, it's a little more up the contours.
I see. Now that's logical. Yeah, go ahead.
What's going on?
Thank you for looking after us.
No problem.
I definitely think we have time to do that. I caught back up to you, pilot.
Yeah, I just increased. I was at 55%. I'll go back to 65, see which way things go.
You done with the HPU here?
I am. I did forget.
Bridge, RV nav?
Nav, bridge, go ahead.
Yeah, bridge requesting a ship move.
Okay, copy that.
50 meters, 180 degrees, 0.2 knots.
Copy that. 50 meters, 180 direction, 0.2 knots.
Good copy.
And is the uphill direction south of us?
It's about 45 degrees. So,
but
we're gonna suspend that move. We're not gonna probably make it all the way through that. We'll just based on depth.
Well, 0.2, we can still get to the bottom and be all right.
Yeah.
So is our direction of advance going to be south-southwest when we get there? Or that away?
225.
Color map seems backwards to me. I always thought red was shallow and green was deep. Am I confused?
This seems pretty common to me. You know, green is shallow, blue is deeper, purple is ultra deep. But
okay.
I think that's the default we get from.
Right.
Is that the waypoint down there? Yeah, that's where it's supposed to be. We just got a little off course. Okay.
Seem to be skew slightly.
Video watch lead, we can change that feed 3 to the quad screen. We're done.
It's just
it's a good profile.
Where the forces are in equilibrium.
Yeah.
Decreasing Z bias to 60%, I think is right about where we want to be.
Nav, could you just fill me in on what's going on? It's a hard time for me to hear you all.
Yeah, watch lead. We're just we're 300 meters or so from the bottom, 10 minutes from the bottom. We're making a little adjustment with the ship to get a little, hopefully to land a little closer to our target.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We just passed a depth of 3,650 meters. We're headed to about 3,900 meters. We are diving today on the west wall of Mona Canyon. It's approximately 30 miles northwest of Puerto Rico.
You have a preference on bubble cam location, Dave?
No. Okay. Play at will.
Notice the
Hui ECC, this is the Okeanos Explorer.
serious bubble cam, or whatever camera you want to call it. As soon as it gets past that.
Good morning, Andrea. How are you?
I'm well. I was just wondering how the audio is there, if it's any better.
It's way clearer. I'll show you.
Sorry, you're going to have to repeat that. I had
wide,
to
it can't
mute the
focus.
TV.
Yeah, I'm checking audio.
I think that's the culprit.
You hearing us okay?
I can hear you well. Did you get the audio worked on your end? Or is it better with the bleed?
The only thing that's the issue is that we can still hear both the front row and the back row in the right side speakers, so we can't isolate the pilot.
I'm hurt.
So is it different from when it was yesterday?
No, it's always been that way throughout the last 3 dives.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if that's a setup issue at the ISC or what exactly, but
I am not sure either. Maybe somebody from ISC can comment on that or video.
I see Jared over there adjusting, checking things at our end.
Yeah, I'm just balancing out all the individual channels right now. But yeah, duly noted that the mix down is currently not in standard.
Okay. Let us know if there's anything we can do to test. But basically what we've been doing is just muting our video stream so that we don't have any echoing and try not to confuse ourselves.
Looks like it'll be on.
I couldn't tell. Was that from the ship side or Alex from ISC chimed in as well?
Hi, do you guys copy? This is Alex from the hub.
Hi, Alex. Yes, can hear you better.
Yeah, it's better. It's gone okay, EX. So yeah, we were working with Roland and Jared over the weekend on just trying to standardize the levels getting sent out from the encoders on the ship. We were receiving it at a really low level, so any distribution from us is going to be low because we were receiving it at a low level. But I think there's still some more to tune there. I wasn't here for the finish of that troubleshooting, so I'm not fully up on the situation. We're seeing it good over here.
Yep. Our issue right now is the split channel audio.
I see you getting some bleed through.
Yeah, so the best way to test this would be to run tone and try and isolate each channel individually, which is incredibly disruptive to the dive. So this is a test that's going to have to take place when we're off bottom. But I have
okay.
I have an inkling that there's a setting in the harmonic that's taking the embedded audio and not sending out stereo. Because our recordings here in the ship are still split stereo, or dual mono rather.
I see. Okay, well, we'll be here all day. We'll have Derek will be later in the day to troubleshoot with that.
All right.
Thank you all.
Be diving.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Pilot on our first
Nav
dive.
watch lead.
I told you to chase something shiny in the
Go ahead, watch lead.
Yeah, I was just conferring back on shoreside with the person who proposed this plan, and definitely want to hit those waypoints.
Acrylic.
Okay.
Thanks.
It's a glare.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Was and remains.
Up. Getting some bottom here. 80 meters off.
Nothing on Sirius yet. Delta's at 3.
Okay. Why don't you stop at 30 off?
Roger.
You get it. And we'll get formed up.
Still no altitude.
Okay, we are 70 meters off bottom.
There we go.
This is Andrea Quattrini on the Okeanos Explorer. I'm a postdoctoral researcher with the U.S. Geological Survey. I have Mike Cheadle sitting next to me from the University of Wyoming, a marine geologist. And we have several people back on shoreside with us today. We have Amanda Demopoulos, Tim Shank at Hui ECC, along with Jason Chater and Uri Tenbrink. Mike Ford, are you still on the line with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and anybody else on the conference call with us today? Okay, in the chat room we have Amy Bacco-Taylor,
pilots.
Mike Vecchione,
Ship is
Santiago
stopped.
Herrera,
Probably have
and
about
Stephanie
another 20
Farrington.
meters
So
of
thank you all
swing
for your help today.
for Sirius
okay
coming
with that.
south.
Roger that. Slowing down.
Roger.
Sirius, 30 meters altitude and holding.
Roger that. D2 continuing down slow.
Mike, do you want to give us an update on the geology objectives for this dive?
Sure, Andrea.
Thanks.
So today we're diving in Mona Canyon, which is this large north-south trending canyon that was formed about 20 to well, it's actively deforming today. It's actually not absolutely clear when it formed. It probably started forming about 10 million years ago. But it's an enormous canyon that extends all the way to the Puerto Rico Trench. And the part that we'll be diving at, the floor is at about 5 kilometers below the sea floor, and the wall, the west wall, which we'll be diving on, extends up to about 2 kilometers below sea level. So this wall gives us a cross-section through the geology of Puerto Rico. On the top, we would see the carbonates that we've looked at on the previous dives, but today we're going to go down to 3.8 kilometers and look beneath the carbonates. Look at the volcanic rocks that form the basement of Puerto Rico. So we're going to start at about 3.8 kilometers and come upwards as high as we can during the dive, trying to look at both the geology and the biology of this enormous canyon wall. And I should explain that the part of the wall we're looking at today was created by an enormous landslip. And if anybody's looked at the web pages, there's a nice picture of Mona Canyon on there, which shows you where we're diving and shows you this enormous landslide at the bottom of the west wall of the canyon. And that landslide, we're not sure when it happened. It may have happened in 1918 when there was a magnitude 7 earthquake to the north, just to the north of us. And that earthquake may have shook the wall of the canyon enough that part of it collapsed.
For our advance,
so we're going to be looking at geology. We're going to be looking at possible evidence of slope failure. And of course, we're going to be looking at the spectacular biology.